Welcome to the Reddit mic.
Today, wow, we're really diving into something challenging. How long-term relationships end. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Agonizingly.
Yeah, it's tough stuff. We're not looking for those easy cliches like, oh, they just fell out of love.
No, not at all.
Okay, let's jump in. Our first story. This one, well, it gave us that infamous internet phrase. We're calling it the case of the false martyr.
Ah, yes. Fuck off, Jacob.
That's the one. So picture this. A 10-year relationship. It just ends. Abruptly, 2 years ago. And the original poster, the OOP, she was completely lost. They were planning a wedding, trying for a baby, then boom, he's gone.
And the fallout was just devastating for her. I mean, she's spiraled badly, even attempted suicide, believing this rejection meant something was fundamentally wrong with her.
Which is just awful.
Truly awful. It was a complete breakdown. Luckily, a friend stepped in, was incredibly supportive, and eventually things turned around for her. She actually fell in love with that friend, and now they have a daughter together. So a happy outcome, eventually.
But then Jacob comes back into the picture 2 years later.
Right. He insists they need to meet, says he has this huge confession.
And the big reveal is...
He claims the real reason he left was because he found out he had a testicular issue, very low fertility, and he knew how much he wanted a family, so he decided to leave her so she could have that chance with someone else.
Wow. So he frames it as this noble sacrifice.
Completely. He basically patted himself on the back, saying his plan ultimately worked because, look, she has a child now.
Okay, but hang on. Let me play devil's advocate for a second. What if he genuinely thought she'd resent him down the line? If he really believed he couldn't give her kids, maybe leaving felt like the only option for her happiness. Is the unilateral part the real sin here?
But see, that logic, it's all about his feelings, his ego, not her reality. The sin isn't just the decision itself, it's the theft of her choice, her agency.
Right. He didn't let her decide.
Exactly. He robbed her of the chance to know the truth, to maybe explore IVF or adoption, or even just decide together that a child-free life was okay for them, instead of having one really tough, vulnerable conversation.
He chose devastation.
Wrapped it up in a heroic narrative for himself. And fundamentally, he decided her entire worth revolved around having kids, that he got to define that for her. That's the betrayal.
And it turns out the deception went way deeper than just that breakup excuse.
Oh, much deeper. The OOP had stayed close with Jacob's mother, luckily, and the mom spilled the beans. Jacob knew about potential fertility issues since childhood. He'd had surgery for undescended testicles.
So this wasn't new information he just found out.
Not at all. It was always a possibility. And for 10 years, he lied. Said he'd had the follow-up checks, everything was fine. But he hadn't. He knew this was hanging over them the whole time they were planning a future.
So he didn't leave to save her?
No. He likely left because the fact they weren't getting pregnant was about to expose his decade-long lie. It was self-preservation. Avoid the confrontation. Avoid the truth. He chose to inflict years of pain on her rather than face one honest, difficult conversation.
Unbelievable. And the aftermath is just bizarre.
Isn't it? He ends up dating his friend's 60-year-old mother.
Which, as people online pointed out, kind of neatly sidesteps the whole fertility pressure thing, doesn't it? Consciously or not.
It certainly seems convenient, let's put it that way. And then the final twist. The story goes viral. He demands she take it down.
Which just leads to everyone knowing exactly who Jacob is, and that now famous response.
Fuck off, Jacob. A cautionary tale in weaponized martyrdom.
Moving on to the next story. This one feels like a real shock to the system initially.
It does. You've got a couple together, 17 years, 2 kids, teenagers.
Right. And the wife. She says she was completely blindsided. Husband suddenly says he's leaving.
And the reason he gives?
No reason. Just no reason at all.
Yeah, and that no reason line, it almost never holds up, does it, when you dig a little deeper?
Exactly. You look at the structure, the foundation of their marriage, and you start seeing the cracks.
She actually detailed it pretty clearly, this huge imbalance.
Yeah.
She said she did 100% of the housework. Cooking too.
100%, while also paying half the bills.
Yep, half the bills. Now, she did acknowledge she worked fewer hours, maybe 2 or 3 days a week, versus his 50, 60 hours.
Okay.
And she kind of used that to justify the housework split.
But wait, if you're doing all the domestic work and paying half the bills, I mean, does that even count as a partnership anymore? Isn't that something else?
It really pushes the definition, doesn't it? It feels less like mutual support and more like convenience, mostly for him.
And the timing just underscores that, doesn't it? He admitted his unhappiness started before September.
Right. And what was happening around that time?
That's the kicker. It was precisely when she was dealing with her mother dying from cancer. The grief, the distraction, everything.
Which is just awful timing. And several people commenting on the story pointed out something quite telling.
What was that?
That deep grief, or any major distraction really, can be a frequent trigger for cheaters.
Because suddenly the attention isn't on them, even if the partner is going through hell.
Exactly. It reveals that selfish entitlement. And even though she initially insisted, I think her words were, he's not cheating, not his style. I've never doubted his loyalty.
Yeah, she seemed very sure.
The update eventually confirmed it. He was cheating with a coworker.
Oh, man. So the no reason was just a lie.
A cover.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting, I think, is what happened after the split. Months down the line, he tries to come back. Says he regrets it.
The classic return attempt. Did she take him back?
Nope. She saw right through it. And what she said about why he wanted to come back. That's the real insight here.
What did she say?
She realized he didn't miss her. Not the person, not the connection. He missed his easy life.
His easy life.
Meaning?
The convenience. The fact that the house ran itself, meals appeared, laundry got done. He missed having his domestic needs fully outsourced. His bang maid, as some commenters brutally but perhaps accurately put it.
Wow, so the pattern here is really about the cost of convenience.
Absolutely. When one partner just values their own comfort, that sort of automated existence, over the actual work and emotional give and take a relationship needs.
Then it's basically already over. They're just waiting for an excuse to ditch the person managing their life for them.
Pretty much. But here's the empowering part. Her resolution, her final update wasn't about sadness. It was about freedom.
Really? What did she say? She specifically mentioned things like, my house is so peaceful and the freedom is unreal.
So losing him wasn't just a loss.
No, she gained peace, gained autonomy. She said, no one did tell me to wash clothes, cook dinner, or expect sex. She even improved her finances, got benefits, a pay raise, found a new boyfriend she described as kind.
That's incredible. Cutting that tie to his entitlement actually let her thrive.
It seems so, a powerful shift.
Okay, so that story really highlights that selfish kind of abandonment, dissolving a relationship built on unequal labor.
Right. Entitlement leading to collapse.
All right, moving on to the next story. It's about systemic failure, where the entitlement was baked in from day one.
Yeah, this one's got layers. We're looking at a 12-year marriage, but the starting point is crucial.
The age gap.
Exactly. She was 18 when they got married. He was 30.
12 years difference, starting when she was legally just an adult.
And it sounds like the relationship began pretty much right after her 18th birthday. This isn't just an age gap. It suggests a system potentially built on, well, grooming, or at least taking advantage of immaturity.
And she seems to see that now, looking back.
Very much so. She reflected later, I think she was 31 at the time, saying she can't imagine being attracted to an 18-year-old, let alone marrying one.
That's powerful self-awareness, realizing the dynamic wasn't about equals meeting.
No. And that power imbalance played out immediately in his traditional demands.
Which were?
Predictable, sadly. She had to do 100% of the childcare and housework.
Okay, so the stay-at-home mom deal?
Not even. She also had to work part-time.
What? So all the house stuff, all the kid stuff, and bring in money. What was his justification?
His argument was he provides the main income, so she needs to pull her weight with everything else, plus some earnings.
Wow. So he wanted the financial benefit of a second income, but the domestic service of a 1950s stereotype.
That sums it up pretty well, which leads to your point. What did he actually contribute besides money?
Seems like not much else.
Apparently not. And the whole thing came crashing down when he started pressuring her for a third child.
More pressure, more work for her.
Exactly. And that was the breaking point. She just snapped, told him flat out she wouldn't be a single mom with a third child.
Oof, powerful words.
And she added that the kids barely know him.
That must have hit hard. Or maybe not, if it was true.
Well, it was her moment of clarity.
Yeah.
Realizing she already was a single parent in practice. He was just there sometimes. An occasional source of income and, it sounds like, conflict.
And didn't her sister play a role in this realization?
Yes. Her sister Madison, described as openly feminist. Madison's marriage was the total opposite.
How so?
Shared chores, husband bringing her coffee when she was tired, real emotional support, a true partnership.
And seeing that made the original poster feel?
Initially, resentful. She felt bad seeing her sister's happy, functional marriage, but then she realized she wasn't actually mad at her sister.
She was projecting.
Exactly. Projecting her own unhappiness, her own resentment about her broken marriage onto her sister's success. That contrast highlighted everything wrong in her own life.
Makes sense. So when she finally left him, did things get smoother?
Oh, not at all. The system fought back.
Meaning his family?
Yeah. His mother and sister confronted her. Apparently, the mother-in-law turned beet red with rage when she said the key line.
Which was?
He married a teenager, and I'm now a grown woman.
Wow. Calling out the fundamental imbalance.
Right. It showed the whole family system was invested in maintaining that original unequal structure. They were outraged she was questioning it.
And did the harassment stop there?
Nope. The MIL apparently started gossiping, deliberately took the kids to an unsafe park to make a point.
Seriously? That's awful.
And even did things like intentionally buying the kids shoes that wouldn't fit, apparently trying to trigger the wife's own childhood trauma related to poverty or ill-fitting clothes. Really manipulative stuff.
Just trying to force her back into line or punish her for leaving.
Seems like it. Though the community apparently saw through a lot of the lies.
But the most telling detail for me about the husband's actual role.
Let me guess. The kids.
Yeah. After the divorce, the kids didn't seem to miss him.
It's incredibly sad.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it? As you said earlier.
Hard to miss someone who was barely there.
Exactly. He provided money, sure, but almost zero emotional labor, zero daily presence. Once the court mandated the financial support continue, his absence just became official. The functional single-parent reality was just laid bare.
A truly stark example of how control disguised as tradition just can't hold up once the person being controlled grows up. Moving on to the next story.
This one involves a 31-year-old woman ending a 6-year relationship. Her boyfriend was 29, and the reason? He missed his own deadline to propose.
A deadline he set himself.
Yes, which makes it even more telling, I think. This story really highlights how just delaying, stalling can slowly erode everything. It wasn't about daily life being bad.
Yeah, it was about the future or lack of a shared vision for it.
Exactly. A fundamental misalignment, really, and honestly, a lack of respect.
There were signs early on, weren't there? Red flags.
Definitely. Like their 5-year anniversary, didn't want to make a big deal of it. Actually said it would be embarrassing to celebrate being a 5-year girlfriend.
Oof. That phrasing.
Tells you everything, doesn't it? He saw her relationship status not as something shared, but as a reflection on him. Like she was a marker of his own delayed progress.
Not a partner, but a reminder of something he hadn't done yet.
Precisely. And he was embarrassed by how it looked.
Then things got tougher. He got laid off.
And didn't tell her right away. Which is another communication failure, right?
Right.
The money situation meant they both had to move back home with their parents separately.
Still, they stayed together, and eventually this deadline gets set.
Yes. Apparently, her dad asked him directly about his intentions. And the boyfriend promised. Said he'd propose before the end of next month, which was August.
So a clear promise. To her family, no less.
You'd think that would solidify things, but it seems like he just used it to buy time, kick the can, like you said earlier.
So we get to the end of August, their 6th anniversary, actually.
And the setup for the evening is interesting. He books her a massage, sends flowers, nice gestures. But then dinner is booked for 8:30 p.m. at a place that closes at 9.
Cutting it fine, almost creating pressure, a rush.
Exactly. It physically limits the time,
Yeah.
makes a deep emotional conversation feel impossible, feels like strategic avoidance.
So at this rushed dinner, he gives her a gift, an expensive bracelet.
The classic distraction gift, a shiny object. But his demeanor is off, he's sad, won't make eye contact.
And she's just done with the games at this point.
Understandably. She asks him straight up, "Are you proposing tonight?"
And he says,
"No." And then asks for more time? Another 2 or 3 weeks.
wow, after the deadline, after the promise.
And that was it for her. She told him to cancel the food, walked out.
But for her,
Absolutely. She recognized it for what it was. Stalling. Not genuine intention.
Oh.
And his excuse for needing more time.
no, this part is weak. He said he thought she wanted a $10,000 ring.
Based on some offhand comment she made years ago about her cousin's ring.
A comment from years back about a ring he obviously couldn't afford right then, having just been laid off. That's his reason for breaking a promise made last month.
See? It doesn't add up. It's a flimsy excuse. The money wasn't the real issue. It was the commitment itself. The idea of actually merging their lives, taking that next step.
He was fine with the girlfriend part.
Comfortable with the status quo. But when the real pressure of partnership, financial, social arrived, he couldn't handle it. And the proof is what happened next. He immediately turned off his location tracking, made no effort to fight for her or the relationship.
So the deadline wasn't the problem, it was just the end of the road for his stalling tactics.
Exactly. It gave him a way out without having to be the one to actually say, I don't want this level of commitment. He let the deadline do the dirty work.
Okay. Moving on to the next story.
This one is different. We move away from moral failings, emotional betrayals,
And into biology.
right, into a relationship crisis where the threat isn't coming from choices or personality, but from inside the brain itself.
So set the scene for us.
It involves a couple. Sounds like they were happily married for a long time. She's 62, he's 59, seemingly stable.
Okay.
And then, out of the blue, they get confronted by an elderly neighbor, someone in his 80s.
Confronted about what?
The neighbor accuses the 59-year-old husband of having an affair with the neighbor's wife.
Whoa, okay, that's sudden and intense, especially for a long married, happy couple.
Totally surreal and deeply upsetting, naturally.
Yeah.
The wife describes her husband as incredibly trustworthy, loyal. The accusation just doesn't compute.
So where did the accusation come from?
It came from the neighbor's wife herself. She had apparently confessed to this affair.
The neighbor's wife confessed. But is she okay?
That's the crucial context. She's in the late stages of Alzheimer's disease.
Ah, okay. That changes everything.
Completely. What we're likely seeing here is a devastating effect of the disease. Alzheimer's and other advanced dementias can cause the brain to essentially fill in the blanks in memory.
Fill in the blanks how?
It's a phenomenon called confabulation. The brain isn't technically lying. It's creating narratives to patch over memory gaps. It might pull fragments of old memories, maybe misattribute identities.
So she might have had a memory, real or maybe even false, of an affair from decades ago.
Exactly. Or maybe just fragments of intimacy or emotion. And her deteriorating brain attaches that feeling or narrative to someone familiar in the present.
Like the neighbor husband who walks by regularly.
Precisely. The illness literally generates a false reality, a false accusation that then spills out and causes real-world pain and confusion.
God, that's just awful for everyone involved. The husband being accused, his wife trying to process it, and the elderly neighbor believing this terrible thing about his wife and his neighbor.
It's a truly awful situation. The wife who shared the story mentioned she got advice to handle it with compassion and grace.
Which sounds incredibly hard, but probably necessary. How did it resolve?
She said she spoke to the elderly man, kept a safe distance initially, understandably, just in case.
Yeah, good call.
But she allowed him to express his shock, his fear. And apparently, seeing the accused husband's calm, open demeanor helped the elderly man realize the accusation likely wasn't true.
So he understood it was the illness speaking.
Yes. He apologized, acknowledged his wife's condition, likely explained the confession. They reached a place of, well, painful understanding, empathy even.
That takes immense grace on both sides.
It really does. And if you think about the elderly accuser, the tragedy runs even deeper.
How so?
He wasn't necessarily just being jealous or mean. Think about his reality. He's likely dealing with overwhelming caregiver burnout, isolation, the grief of losing his wife piece by piece to this disease.
Right. That must be incredibly lonely and stressful.
And in a strange, heartbreaking way, maybe he wanted the confession to be real on some level.
Why would he want that?
Because if she was confessing, even to something terrible, it might feel like a sign she was still present, still connected to reality, remembering things, having agency. Even a painful truth might feel more real than the fog of dementia.
Wow. That's profoundly sad. The illness doesn't just steal the person, it twists reality for everyone around them.
It really does. It fabricates conflict, destroys trust through no fault of anyone involved, a biological catastrophe with deep emotional fallout.
All right, moving on to the next story.
Okay, bracing myself.
It's a woman, 31, and her husband, 32. He's a pediatrician.
Oh.
They had a long-planned pregnancy, trying for 2 years. But the positive test result, instead of joy, it triggers a massive mental health spiral in the husband.
Oh, wow. Not the expected reaction at all.
Not at all. His personality just changed alarmingly fast.
How so?
Suddenly wants a divorce, finds a new place to live, refuses to speak to his wife at all.
It cuts her off while she's pregnant.
Completely. And exhibiting passively suicidal thoughts, saying he wants to die, but no concrete plan, apparently.
That's terrifying.
And making these delusional statements like, everyone hates him, he's a worthless human being. He even told his pregnant wife to find a new dad for the baby.
Oh my God. It really does sound like a switch flipped, a genuine crisis.
Totally. And the wife, she desperately tried to get him help, But she hit these huge roadblocks.
Like what?
She told his employer, the medical board, but they basically dismissed it as marriage troubles.
Seriously, even with the suicidal talk and delusional statements?
Yep. Said lots of doctors get depressed. She called a suicide hotline, but learned she couldn't force him into treatment unless he posed an immediate threat with an actual plan.
That impossible situation so many families face.
And even his own mother dismissed her concerns. Said he seems fine after talking to him.
Wow. That institutional dismissal, especially given he's a pediatrician, it just highlights that awful stigma around mental health, doesn't it?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
especially in demanding jobs. It forces people and their partners into silence, delays treatment, makes everything worse.
A truly impossible situation.
It's chilling how hard it was for her to get anyone to take it seriously. But then, something really puzzling happened. His recovery.
Okay. How did that unfold?
After hitting what she called rock bottom, he agreed to medication, saw a therapist twice, even with his crazy residency schedule.
So some steps.
Some small steps. But the huge shift came after the baby was born. He did this dramatic 180, just seemed to snap out of it.
Snap out of it.
Just like that. Apparently, became, quote, a mostly perfect dad. No more mental health episodes, reported says.
Huh. That raises some serious questions, doesn't it? That whole snap out of it thing.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
Well, commenters were really suspicious. They threw out possibilities like maybe undiagnosed bipolar disorder, antidepressants alone can actually worsen that.
Right, if it's not just depression.
Or even grimly manipulative behavior, because severe mental illness doesn't usually just vanish, especially not after 2 therapy sessions.
That's true.
And there's that deeply unsettling idea of the calm before the storm, where someone suicidal might seem better after they've made a final decision.
Oh, God, that's a terrifying thought for the wife.
Absolutely. So for her, living with that doubt, is he really better? Was it manipulation? Is something else going on? How do you even begin to assess if his recovery is real or stable, let alone rebuild trust?
Yeah, it shows how hard it is to gauge these rapid changes, especially when you don't fully know the cause.
Or if it's been properly addressed.
Right. And despite this apparent turnaround, the wife is still struggling. A lot.
Understandably.
She can't let go of her anger and resentment, especially because he doesn't think he's done anything that needs to be forgiven.
Wow. No accountability.
And refuses couples counseling.
Oof, red flag.
And what keeps her there? Fear. Fear of her state's father-friendly 50-50 custody laws.
The custody trap.
Even though she has damning evidence of his instability, her lawyer says it's likely not enough to deny him access to their child.
So she feels trapped.
Yeah.
Staying in a situation that feels unsafe, maybe, for what she thinks is stability for the child.
Exactly. Deeply conflicted.
Yeah, that's that classic awful want versus need dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
Commenters were apparently quite critical of her for not leaving sooner.
Yeah, saying she missed opportunities maybe to move, establish residency elsewhere before the baby came.
Right. Highlighting how incredibly hard it is to prioritize your own safety and the child's true safety over keeping the family unit together on paper, especially when things are so volatile.
It's a stark reminder that sometimes the logical path, even if painful, might be necessary for long-term well-being.
Even if it feels impossible at the time.
Our last story is much darker, more complex.
It involves a husband, 46, finally leaving his wife, 45, after more than 20 years, and realizing that their entire relationship was fundamentally shaped, really poisoned by her severe childhood trauma.
And we have to acknowledge that trauma was horrific. Her mother wished she'd been aborted. She survived physical and sexual assault. I mean, unimaginable stuff.
Absolutely horrific. And those kinds of deep wounds, when they aren't healed, when they aren't properly addressed, they often manifest outwards. Tragically, often as controlling or abusive behavior towards the people closest to them.
And the abuse here was extensive, over 2 decades.
It really was. Fueled by intense jealousy, this constant, overwhelming fear of abandonment. And it wasn't just emotional, there were physical assaults, punching him, breaking a shower door to trap him.
That level of control. It's terrifying. And the constant accusations, calling hotels, checking his clothes.
Relentless suspicion. It speaks to a desperate, profound need to control everything and everyone around her, likely stemming from feeling so powerless in her past. And the verbal cruelty, designed to inflict maximum pain.
Like telling him he was small after intimacy.
Yes. She later admitted she only said it out of spite to hurt him. It's like she was taking the criticism she endured from her own mother and weaponizing it against him. A devastating cycle.
And therapy, which should have been a path to healing, became complicated.
Very complicated. Because when abuse is present, therapy can sometimes be manipulated. After years of him pushing for honesty, she finally agreed to a therapeutic disclosure. But it wasn't genuine.
How so?
It was highly controlled, performative. She only admitted to certain past actions like attending a stripper party, letting men grope her, or send pictures while she was acting as a wingman for a friend, things she could frame in a specific way.
Minimal disclosure.
Minimal and managed. And the really chilling part, immediately after that session, her friends started texting the husband to back up her version of the story, corroborating the narrative she had just presented in therapy.
Whoa. So it's pre-planned, coordinated.
It certainly looks that way.
Yeah.
It shows the disclosure wasn't about vulnerability or healing. It was about managing his reaction, controlling the narrative, maybe even painting herself as the brave one confessing rather than owning the pattern of behavior, deflection.
And the impact on their children, that's the truly heartbreaking part.
It really is. The husband thought he was protecting them by staying, by presenting this unified front. But in reality, it didn't shield them from witnessing or experiencing her emotional volatility.
And now that he's left.
Now the kids are furious at him.
Why him?
Because he was the buffer. He absorbed the worst of it, creating this kind of false stability. Now he's gone, and they're directly exposed to their mother's issues, and they blame him for the change, for removing that buffer.
God, that's awful.
It shows the devastating legacy of unaddressed trauma. It harms the original victim, then twists them into becoming a perpetrator, and the cycle just continues, scarring the next generation. His attempt to protect actually enabled the dysfunction to go on for far too long.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive today. We hope it gave you plenty to consider.